just because something seems like a bad thing automatically doesn't necessarily mean it's a totally bad thing, because everything has a good and a bad side to it.
Welcome to the Secrets of Being podcast. I'm Dr. Dawn Earhart Whitty, your guide on a transformative journey of personal development and discussions of universal truths. Join me and a panel of life coaches and spiritual leaders from around the world discussing how to handle some of life's greatest challenges. We will be sharing stories of love, faith, and inspiration with you, our faithful listeners, to live your happiest and most fulfilling life, full of purpose and passion for yourself, your families, and the world. We are here to be the change we wish to see. Let the conversation begin. Hello, welcome to the Secrets of Being podcast. I am thrilled today to introduce you to Rachel Kaplan. She is the author of several books, and the one that I have read personally is How to Find Happiness in a Crazy World. And I love that because do we not live in a crazy world? I am going to let Rachel introduce herself, tell us what she would love to tell us about her, and then we'll get started on some of the conversation. Welcome, Rachel.
Thank you for having me. So my name is Rachel. I am a recovery support specialist, and what that means is that I dealt with mental illness for a number of years. I have bipolar, and it was very tough numbers of years, a lot of deal with misery, being mistreated by the system, but luckily I was eventually got the right help, and now I work with people dealing with serious mental illnesses. And I guess what I would want people to know is that even though I've been through a lot of struggles, I'm an extremely happy person, and I love meeting people at my job or on Twitter, X, who I've also, been through a lot of struggles, and I find it very uplifting, and it really gives a lot more faith in humanity for me. So the book that you mentioned, How to Find Happiness in a Crazy World, it's just tips that I've used over the years to help myself become happier, and I hope it could be helpful for others.
Oh, well, thank you for writing it. And isn't that the best thing we can do with our struggles as we go through life
Hmm.
is help other people and we may not even be on all the way on the other side of it. We might still be going through it, but to be able to help people
Yeah.
with things that work for you,
Hmm.
right? So I love it. And so I always like to start off with a quote, and I'm going to take a quote from your book that I really like. And you said, I'm sure you've heard of the phrase misery enjoys company. Well, happiness enjoys company too. They give goosebumps. The happier we are, the more happiness we can share. And I love that because it's true, right? Misery does love company, but happiness also attracts happiness,
Hmm.
right? And so when on your journey did you get to that place where that you kind of figured that part out?
Well, all those years I was struggling, I wish that I could be in the position of the helper instead of the person who needs help. And I volunteered at different places, but it was at my job that I really feel like, I found my calling, because I was able to use my experiences that I didn't sign up for, but were really apparently really good job experience to help people dealing with mental illness have hope, and just in general, help them form more relationships and show them that someone with mental illness can get better, can get into recovery and live a good life. So I'm very blessed with that. And then last year, I finally figured out how to use Twitter, and it's been really great for because before it was a little drama, but I learned, in the Christian faith community I'm in, we pray for each other, we look out for each other, and it's just a really nice. And they've been there for me too, like if I need prayers, and it's just been a really nice sense of community. And also I've met so many amazing people, and I just find it really uplifting, people who are going through tough times, because I feel they're the closest to God. And so that's been really, really great for me.
Yeah, I think finding your community,
Hmm.
and there are 8 billion people in the world. I don't know the
Hmm.
statistic today. It could be over 8 billion at this point,
Yeah.
but you're not going to be in alignment with everybody, right?
Hmm.
So find
Yeah.
those people that support you and get you and show up for you. And
Hmm.
that makes a lot of difference
Hmm.
in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell me this. So did you start your journey um, in your professional field
Mhm.
wanting to go into mental health, or was it because of your struggles that you kind of went that way? Like, how did that transpire for you?
So I started having struggles when I was 14. At the time, I wanted to be a teacher, but then when I was 16, I decided I wanted to be a therapist. So I went to college for psychology, but then grad school, which I got into, but I was having a lot of breakdowns, so it didn't work out me going. But I wasn't predicting on becoming a recovery sports specialist until I heard about it because I had never heard of the term before, but I feel like it fits me a lot better because I get to have my experience count for something, and it's been really great, and I just feel like it's given me a lot of opportunities to help people.
Yes, well, you clearly have such a heart, and I've followed you on X, and you are always supporting somebody, whether it's somebody
Hmm.
who's trying to pay their bills, making crocheted beautiful items,
Hmm.
or somebody that just needs a prayer, or somebody's going through a hard time. And that's one of the reasons I gravitated towards you, because you're
Hmm.
always uplifting and supportive and empowering and encouraging. And those are such beautiful things to be in this world,
Yeah,
especially
thank you.
in this crazy world that
Yeah.
we live in, right?
Yeah.
And to see
Yeah.
someone shine their light the way you do is a beautiful thing. So, on your journey, as you're going through this, starting at 14, it might have started a little bit earlier than that, but maybe 14 was
Hmm.
where kind of what were the things that got you through as you're going through the hardest times? Like, when did you get to the place where you were able to write this book and list out the things that helped you on your journey?
So I when I was 16, I went to a private school that was helpful. It wasn't specifically for people with mental illness, but it was just helpful for me to go there. And then college was rough. I don't think the college environment of, it's very hedonistic, so it wasn't good for me. And then I started having more breakdowns, and then I went to a behavioral health place that was really not helpful. But eventually I got help through Harvard Healthcare, the program that I did there, getting on the right meds, and getting the right diagnosis, and then on December 11th, 2019, I got into recovery. And this book I wrote a little after I started my job, and I just felt more energized because of my job, and I wanted to share what I learned over the years about how to become happier. Because when I got on the pills, it lifted the depression, but I was still really miserable, but that I work towards taking steps to become happier because it does take time. It takes time to change your brain. So I say like any personal growth comes with time, work, and pain. And that's the only way to really do it. You can't really go around that. So I'm blessed that the pills allowed me to get out of depression, but it was things I did in my own work that allowed me to become happy.
And do you find that because you work with, now I don't know what population, do you work with all ages? Do you work with a certain demographic?
I work with adults, so we have, I think, the youngest person I think there right now is like 20, and then we have some people up to like their 60s. But it's all adults, so you have to be at least 18. And I work with people with more serious mental illnesses like schizophrenia, but they don't live there. They come and we do groups together, and it's a lot of fun. I love it.
And do you find that because you have purpose and you know
Hmm.
that you are impacting others in the work that you're
Hmm.
doing in this world, do you find that that helps you with your own happiness?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like it was like day one of my job. I went from being happy to extremely happy because I had purpose. I had, enjoyable things to do each day. And 3 years later, I still feel that way.
I love that. I love that because one of my beliefs is that we are here to be of service to each
Hmm.
other, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we've lost that piece of the equation
Hmm.
or the puzzle, we then can, if we don't have purpose and we're not here for other people, then we can go down like dark rabbit holes, dark holes,
Hmm.
and just feel like what's the point of life, and life is meaningless. And
Yeah.
but showing up for others and making a difference in someone's life
Hmm.
makes a huge difference in your own life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you share, and you don't have to give any personal details because I don't want you to like, but can you share a time where you maybe somebody was challenging or whatever, and you made a breakthrough or you saw a breakthrough, how that made you feel, and how did that you experience that?
Well, I have one client who has been doing better, still has some struggles, but she's made a lot of progress. And it could be, frustrating because it takes so much patience, because it takes so much time, but that's how it works in the mental health field. So I feel like that was good for me to see that over time, people can get better. And it might not be like an epiphany in the moment, but like over time people can make small changes that eventually add up. And so many of the people in the program are working or going to school, so it's, you can be in the program and still do a lot of other things. So I think that's good to show people.
So do these people come to you willingly, or do they get sent to you by another provider, or how does that work for you?
So they have to get referred. It's a voluntary program. There's no requirements for legal reasons. But yeah, it's a voluntary program, and usually people stay. They ask for a 6 month commitment, and they have a lot of people who stay for years because it is more of a serious mental illness. So it's not something that just goes away after. It's not just like depression or anxiety. It's like things like bipolar, it's schizophrenia. So it's a more long-term program. But I think because we have people who've stayed there for a lot of years is because they enjoy the program. So we, for the most part, people there like the program.
Well, because you've built a sense of community. Now they have a place of
Hmm.
belonging. They have felt
Yeah.
seen. They have
Yeah.
felt valued. And I feel like sawabuna is one of my favorite words, and it's an African word,
Yeah.
and it means I see you, I value you, you are important to me. And
Oh, that's
everybody
sweet.
needs to feel that, right? And I feel
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
missing in so many people's lives. And I'm sure that anybody that works with you feels that, because I feel that. I feel that just by reading posts that you put online.
Yeah.
I feel that you see people and you really genuinely care. And if we could just show up like that for each other all the
Yeah.
time, it would make a world of difference in the world.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
So this is a question I
Mhm.
really like need to know, not just for the audience, but what do you do with somebody who literally resists any seeds you try to plant, or resists any kind of, well, maybe you could, change the way you see this or look at it a different way or have a different, what do you do with those people that are literally resisting that, and they become quote unquote their own worst enemies?
So that's some of the people who've made progress over time. It can be, I mean, I do get sometimes a little frustrated because, you tell someone a million times something and then they still don't, take that advice. But I never get angry at anyone. And the thing is, it's also my job. It's not just something I'm, doing like a friend or something. So I mean, I have to continue to see them. I have to continue to try to help them, whether I like it or not. So that's it's actually interesting because because I've gotten to really know the people over the last 3 years. I see their flaws too, and there's they have plenty of flaws. And if it was like a friendship, I might think like, oh, should I still be friends with them because they have flaws? But that doesn't matter because I work there. So I think that allows me to get to know people more because I'm not going to quit the relationship because of their flaws because I still work there. So as long as they're there, I'm going to see them, and I'm always going to be nice. So I feel that gives me more of an interesting perspective. It's helped me a little bit. I am very uncomfortable with anger, but I feel like the job's helped me a little bit with getting more comfortable with it, of when other people express anger and how we can make up and how we could move on. Because if it was a friend and they got angry at me, I might be like, oh, I'm too scared to see them again. But I have to see them because it's at work, so I have to learn. Like, yeah, sometimes people might get angry with you, but you gotta let it go.
So, do you have any tricks, tips, techniques that you use when you see somebody who literally cannot get out of their own way? They
Mhm.
continue to repeat same patterns, same cycles.
Mhm.
And like, what are some of the things that you do to be able to reach them, to get them to the next level?
Well, what I found is everyone needs a different approach. So, like some people, I've taken more of a stern approach. It's not that I'm not loving in it, but it's more like direct. It's not insulting or anything. But some people, they do better, when they get love. Some people, they need more. Like, this is what you got to do. You got to do this, and it's been more helpful, and they really appreciate it. Even though In part, I was doing it because I was a little annoyed with them, but they really appreciated it because it was actually helpful for them. Because again, it's I would never insult anyone because that's not productive, but just being like, let's look at the facts, being just more, stern about it. So there's different. Everyone needs different things. With most people, I start out with the loving thing, but if that, just like a compassionate kind of thing, which I'm passionate towards all of them, but some of them need a more stern approach. But I wait a while until I decide to take that approach because that wasn't naturally my style, but I feel like I've gotten better at it.
I kind of feel like that with my dogs. I am
Oh
not an
yeah.
authoritarian, so being stern with them is hard, but they also
Yeah.
not listen. So sometimes mommy has to use
Yeah.
the ways.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. You can do it in a very loving way. I mean, some part of love is tough love. You
Yeah.
can't really I mean, obviously, like, if you're raising a child, you can't just give them everything they want. Like, you got to do tough love sometimes. So I feel like I do that with people at work too.
Yeah. So, okay. So I love it. So you've worked with what, hundreds, thousands? Like how many people have you worked with throughout the years?
So I've been doing it for 3 years. I think at any given time there's like 40 to 50 people in the program, but it's not there. A lot of people stay for years, so it's not a ton of people because a lot of them stay for a while. But it probably is at least 100 at this point.
Okay, so that's more than two, right?
Yeah.
So do you have some, because this is the secrets of being podcast, and these are the
Hmm.
things that we've learned along the way through our journeys of life, right?
Hmm.
What are
Yeah.
some things that you've learned specifically, not just through your own struggles, but your struggles working with, multiple people? Like
Hmm.
little nuggets that we can take away so that we can, when we're going through those times, to remember to get us through to the next side.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I like this one. They say this thing I learned is that hope stands for hold on, pain ends. So I try to teach them, yeah, the idea of that and how, pain, it's not going to last forever and it can actually be a good thing eventually because it can teach you lessons and just trying to keep that in mind while you're going through it. And I still work on that myself. I'm working on, so like I believe everyone needs stress. I believe that's a part of our human makeup, but you can turn distress into eustress, which is the good stress that motivates you to make changes and it actually feels good, gets the adrenaline, sorry, going. And I try to teach about that and how, just because something seems like a bad thing automatically doesn't necessarily mean it's totally bad thing because everything has a good and a bad side to it, even our struggles and how they could, some of my clients I discuss God with and how it brings us closer to God. I don't like force my beliefs on anyone, but I have clients who believe in that. So it's about how stress, doesn't have to be a bad thing and how, it's possible this could help you someday and just try to keep that perspective to get you through it.
That's so beautiful. And you just like made this story come up in my head because
Hmm.
when I was in Sierra Leone, I had gone on a trip to Africa and I went to Uganda, Kenya, Sierra Leone,
Hmm.
and Ghana. And I don't think this was the time that I went to Rwanda too, but it might have been. So I was pretty tired. I spent an entire
Hmm.
month in Africa. And I remember getting to Sierra Leone. I'd already been traveling for a couple of weeks. And when you get off the plane, you literally, or you get out of into the airport, you literally are inundated by people asking you for money and children and everybody
Mm,
coming up. It was
yeah.
very, very stressful. And I remember looking at my friend Nana and I said, Nana, so I don't know if I want to come back here because it's so hard. It is so hard. And the
Mm,
poverty is palpable. And then,
yeah.
we had to take a ferry over here and then get in a car
Yeah.
and drive. And so I remember thinking that, and we had to wake up the next morning really early. But then after the trip was done, I remember looking at him. I said, God didn't say it would be easy. He said it would be worth it.
Yeah.
And that reminded me of that because just because it's not easy, just because it's hard, doesn't make it not worth it. It
Yeah.
doesn't make it not valuable. And, keep pulling through as you're going through.
Yeah, that's actually when I first came to believing in Jesus. My friend, who I forget the name of, but she invited me to this Christian dinner, which led to me joining the group and learning about God and Jesus. And she said, when I asked her, she said, with Christianity, if it's easy, you're not doing it right. And I feel that's anything meaningful. If it's easy right away, then like it's like kind of what's the point? Like humans need challenge. I do think humans need stress. You can make it good stress, but humans do need stress in their lives, or else you'll just look for random problems everywhere. Because that's just how our brains are. We need challenge, so we shouldn't shy away from challenges. But if we can find meaning in the challenges, that helps us get through it, and that helps us feel good about it. And it's really great the work you've been doing in Africa. That's actually I've originally when I was younger, I was thinking of like doing something with the Peace Corps, but then I don't like I very much like living a comfortable lifestyle, so that didn't work out. But I feel like I'm using my own skills to really help people here, so I'm really glad about that. And it absolutely can be tough, but the thing is, the brain needs exercise, so you that's why when people retire, a lot of times they get depressed because you need something to do, you need something to challenge you. And if you could ideally turn that bad stress into good stress, then that would be the ideal.
And it's purpose. It's finding
Yeah.
purpose, some meaning with, and you know what? Your purpose might be gardening, tending a garden.
Mhm.
You know what? We
Yeah.
need that in the world. And if that's what
Hmm.
reduces your stress, then that is your purpose. But find meaning in everything you're doing, because in my
Exactly.
own
Yeah.
life, it makes the problems or the
Hmm.
difficulties or the challenges. I loved you said that yesterday. Challenges,
Yeah.
your challenges. When we look at
Yeah.
them as problems, then almost becomes insurmountable. But when we look at it
Yeah.
as a challenge, then it's like, oh, well, I can overcome a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need that. Yeah.
So like, where were you on your journey when that mindset kicked in for you?
So I guess I could argue I've been working on it for years. I'm working on it a little more this last week using those terms, but I've been working on it for years because when I was going through, if I'm having like a tough day at work or something, I think to myself like, oh, well, the good thing is when I get home, I can analyze the day and learn from it because I'm obsessed with analyzing everything. So even when I was going through the bad stress, I would still, I still knew that it was in a way a good thing because it gave me the opportunity to learn a lesson. So I've been doing that for a lot of years, and I've been very blessed. I've been able to see it that way, and there's always room for improvement. I don't think I'm ever going to peak, but my life is really amazing, and I'm very blessed with that. Also, mindfulness is a big thing that's helped me enjoy work a lot more, enjoy exercise a lot more. I'm trying to do more meditative writing. And because I'm working on another book that I think I'm going to try to make either free or very cheap on Kindle, and it's based on like the seven deadly sins, but also like lessons from Jesus and stuff. And I'm really enjoying writing it and just trying to not think like, oh, I have to publish this, I have to make money, but instead just enjoy the writing process. So I feel like mindfulness is really good at keeping you in the moment, just to really get the joy out of the little things. I made a list of 15 things that help me be happy, and that's one of them. And then challenges is another. And it's really I feel like it's a good list, but the thing is, in order for people to incorporate it in their lives, it's going to take work. It's going to take time. It's going to take some pain. So I don't want to just say like, oh, it's so easy to be happy, just make the choice to be happy. I'm saying it's a series of choices over time.
It is. And I love that you
Hmm.
said the seven deadly sins, because
Hmm.
when I wrote my first book, I remember thinking, well, what do I want to call it? And I
Hmm.
remember thinking, okay, well, there's the seven deadly sins and they're
Hmm.
telling us what not to do. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to choose 7 words of what to do.
Yeah,
So
that sounds great.
my first book is 7 words that you can
Oh.
choose to be in order to live a happier life. Because,
Oh, nice.
instead of telling people what not to do, and you've heard this say, you can't tell somebody something in the negative. So if it said,
Hmm.
don't think of a pink elephant, or don't think of an
Yeah.
elephant, like what comes
Yeah.
into your head? An elephant.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just because you said don't, so that's why I always want to inspire people to elevate to what they can aspire to be versus what not to be or what not to do.
Yeah, for sure. That's also in the book in each chapter when it's like two characters going on an adventure and they try to teach people the better way. Like, it's, teach people who are prideful to be more humble, teach people who are greedy to help others. So it's really evolving as I'm writing it. So I love that of how a lot of times when you write a book, you have an idea that it starts to take on a life of its own. So I've
Exactly.
enjoyed that. Yeah.
Exactly. So how many books do you currently have out?
3.
Three.
Hmm.
Three. So tell us all the names. I only
Sure.
mentioned one.
Sure. So my first book was called Ruby's Secret to Happiness. It's a novel. It talks about one of the characters' name is Ruby, obviously, and it talks about like happiness and also mental health struggles, and it's kind of based on me, even though it's a fictional book. Then the book you mentioned was my second book. Then my third book is called God Was Always With Me, which talks about my journey through mental health struggles and also my life in recovery. And each chapter starts out with either a Bible passage or a Christian song, and I try to relate my experience in that chapter to the Bible passage or Christian song that I used. And I hope that it can help people in a more spiritual way see how even during the toughest times God is with you, and how your suffering can be used for good later on. And I hope it can be inspiring for people.
Oh, well, you are inspiring, Rachel. I mean,
Thank you.
again, your energy is just beautiful, and what you
Hmm.
write about, what you share, what you post, everything that you do is uplifting, encouraging, praying for others, like helping others. And you know what? If we all could do just a little bit, then
Yeah.
wouldn't be so big. Like if we all
Oh
just did
yeah.
a tiny bit,
Yeah.
then it would be like so much easier to change the world. And again, be the change
Absolutely.
you wish to
Yeah.
see is part of my ethos.
Yeah.
And you are definitely being that change.
Yeah,
So
thank
thank
you so
you.
much. Yeah. I feel you're doing really great work too. I'll look into the 7 words book.
Oh,
I
well,
would love to read it.
that was my first book. I think I've come a little further than, the first one. But, and
Yeah.
here's another thing, you were talking about
Hmm.
challenges and, like life sometimes is going to throw some things at you, right?
Yeah.
Getting outside of our comfort zone and realizing that that is part of the process. Like
Exactly.
life is
Yeah.
a journey, and
Yeah.
getting outside of doing a podcast for me. I never wanted to do a podcast. Like sitting there being filmed, having conversations, that was not in my wheelhouse of things that I wanted to do. I just wanted to go love people. But
Yeah.
in order for me to share my message, I have to put myself outside of the comfort zone, show up on people's podcasts, do my own podcast, do speaking engagements.
Hmm.
I remember the first time I ever had to speak at an event, my knees were shaking. I could feel my voice like trembling. I was
Yeah.
so nervous, but I did it anyway.
Good for
So
you.
again, embrace the
Hmm.
difficulties, embrace the challenges, embrace
Hmm.
the things that make you uncomfortable, because that's where our growth lies.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
That's.
you've had those things. I mean, it
Hmm.
is something to put a book out and put your thoughts and your feelings into print, because you're going to have people that are going to criticize it. You're going to have people that love it,
Hmm.
but you're going to have people that are like, oh my God, I can't believe she did this or said this or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Or who does she think she is? I mean, I've heard all those things. I'm sure
Hmm.
you've heard some of those things too. How do you put that in the background and say, look, no, I'm doing this because I'm called to do this. It doesn't matter what somebody else thinks.
Well, I try to remember that it's not about what other people think of you, it's about what God thinks of you. Like, so there's so many examples throughout history where people who were like the last person you'd expect to do something end up doing it, because there was once this boy, he didn't speak till 3. He, failed out of high school. His college professor said he was a joke. He ended up working in a patent office, and then who am I talking about? Einstein, and he revolutionized the field of physics. So it's not about how, it's how God sees you, not how the world sees you.
I did not know that story about Einstein. So thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to let us judge ourselves by the way the world judges
Mhm.
us, but just put your faith in your higher power.
Mhm.
And I always say, whatever that is for you, I don't want to alienate anybody by their own
Mhm.
personal beliefs, but know that there is a higher power, whatever that
Yeah.
is, right? And understand that we are here for each other. Like we are all connected.
Yeah.
And being of service truly is one of our highest callings, I think, I personally think.
Yeah, I think it's an honor and a privilege because not everyone gets these opportunities to serve, but also there are a lot of people who do, who work in the mental health field that I've dealt with when I was struggling that are like really cold people and end up hurting people. So it's not, so it is, you want to find the right role for yourself, but also it can be hard to find that. But I feel even like everyone's on social media and you can do a lot of good through social media by supporting people and praying for people, but most people use social media in ways that are actually destructive, but you could use it in a good way. So I hope to teach people that.
Yes, and you are an example of that. And I love that you said that because, people have said, "Oh my gosh, social media, it's terrible and terrible." And I
Hmm.
see the negative things about social media. Like
Yeah,
we're
me too.
spending
Yeah.
way too much time
Hmm.
online. We're doom scrolling and there's so much like
Hmm.
negative coming at us. But every time I've seen you do anything on social media, it's always uplifting and like kind and helping somebody else. So again, thank you for being that positive force in this world. The
Yeah, you're
world,
welcome.
you are an example for so many people to be the change they wish to see. And
Yeah.
you're an inspiration to me. So thank
Oh,
you
thank you.
for showing up the way you do. And today, just today, Portia and I, my friend Portia, she does my video editing. She's like my soul daughter. I love her so much.
Hmm.
And we were talking today, and this has happened numerous times when we and have been on the phone, her and I. If she sees somebody who looks like they might be in some kind of distress, whether they are or they're not, she will stop. She will ask if they're okay. She always goes the extra mile. She always does that. And sometimes they don't need anything and they're fine. And they're like, oh, no, 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 I'm fine. But just the fact that she sees there might be a need and she
Hmm.
actually reaches out and just says, hey, are you okay? Like that doesn't take anything aside from like a few moments
Yeah.
of our time. And if somebody was really in trouble or struggling, like just to show up for people, like that's so beautiful. But the bystander effect is real. And people will
Yeah.
literally walk past somebody clearly, in trouble and just go along with their daily lives. And I did a paper in college about the bystander effect because in my world, I don't understand it. Like I can't
Yeah.
understand it. And so, like, what are your thoughts on that? Because that's a big one to me.
Yeah, I feel I think a lot of people they start out like in college thinking they're going to change the whole world, and then I mean you're one person, so you're not going to change the whole world, but then they start getting cynical and they think, "Oh, I can't help anybody." And then they just pass up all these opportunities to help people in their lives, whether it be friends or family or even strangers. And they think like, "Oh, it's not that exciting to help one person." But that's how you start change is with one person at a time. So instead of thinking, oh, is this going to be a huge accomplishment for me, just think, God gives you opportunities. These are the opportunities he's giving you, and just try to take advantage of them for helping other people as much as you can.
Yeah, well, for any listeners that have followed my podcast, like they know I've said this a billion times, and I'm so
Hmm.
sorry if hearing it again, but it bears repeating. One of my favorite quotes is by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and
Hmm.
it's a longer quote, but at the end of it, it says, "To know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, that is to have succeeded."
Yeah,
And
that's beautiful.
isn't it? I
Yeah,
mean,
I've heard that. Yeah.
it's beautiful. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
even have to be a human. It could
Yeah.
be like an animal. It could be just one life that you've touched in love and kindness. It makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And that is success. And Rachel, you are successful. I want you to know that. I can't wait for your next book to come out.
Yeah.
And I would like, before we like wrap up, I want you
Mhm.
to leave people with a final thought, like something that is really important that you know, let leave people with, and then also let them know how they can find you. We will also have your contact information in our show notes, but let them know where they can find you, how they can connect with you, and then leave them with a beautiful piece of wisdom because you have a lot.
Sure. So I guess I would tell people that when it comes to happiness, when it comes to helping others, it's good to look at everything as an investment. So the investments are not guaranteed to pay off, but if you don't make any investments, you're not going to get anywhere. So, if you try something to be happy and it doesn't work out, well, yeah, I mean, it's an investment, but just try to learn from that. And then over time, as you get better at investing, you'll get happier and happier, and then you can help more and more people, and then you'll be able to invest more liberally. So even if it's just like a tiny little thing, even if it doesn't work out, it's still really important to be constantly investing your happiness in yourself and in others. So that's what I'll leave it with.
I love that. And again,
Mhm.
investment doesn't mean money. It means
Yeah.
time and energy.
Yeah,
And we
exactly.
forget that. I think
Everything, yeah, and love, yeah.
yes, because we've put
Yeah.
money at the top of what we
Yeah.
are looking for. And once we realize that's not the price, yes, do we need money? Yes, it is a currency we work with in this world, but
Yes.
it is not the biggest one or the most important, nor the one that's going to make us the happiest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, money can be necessary. Not, I like living a comfortable lifestyle, but so many studies have shown, like this 80-year-old study done by Harvard, that the biggest factor in health and longevity is love, and just keeps getting shown over and over again.
You mean
All
this book?
right. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and unfortunately, our society is getting less and less connected. So, the more we can invest love, the more love we can create, the better. And love is the opposite of matter. There is no minimum, there is no maximum. It's just let's create more and more.
I love that. I love that. And
Yeah.
it's funny because in this world that we currently live in, we are more connected than
Mm-hmm.
we've ever been. But at the
Yeah.
same time, we're also more disconnected than we've ever been.
Yeah. I think it's because you have more relationships, so they're not as deep. That's my theory. But also, it's like, because of our obsession with money, with things, we're working so much, and we're not putting the effort into things like love, into things that will actually make us happy, but instead we're putting effort into, like, oh no, this reality show person did something and I'm so upset. It's like why are you putting work into this? So it's if you got to invest in the right ways.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
beautiful. And that is so true. And
Yeah.
I mean, again, you look at, and I'm nothing against sports, nothing against TV or whatever, any of those
Yeah.
things. But, people get so invested in these things. They get into arguments and like
Mhm.
fights about it. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like it's not that serious. Like, what is serious? The people you love, the people in your life,
Exactly.
your
Exactly what
family, your
actually
friends.
matters. Yeah.
Yeah. So invest in those things, your family, your friends,
Yeah.
your community. It doesn't have to be the community across the world. It could be your own community that you live in, your neighborhood.
Yeah. Exactly. And and you might not think like, oh, this isn't the most exciting thing. Like, I think it's wonderful the work you're doing in Africa, but I mean, yes, not everyone, might have the opportunity to go to another country. But even in our old world, there's people who need help. And also, if you want more people to help on social media, you can meet people who are, dealing with illness, dealing with a ton of different things, and just it doesn't have to be giving them money. I wouldn't suggest that online, but just being there for them and, give them compliments and being, showing that you care. It makes a huge difference to people.
Yeah, just saying a prayer. I mean, I think
Exactly. Yeah.
somebody on X had said, tell me the truth. Do you pray every time somebody does a prayer request on X and you see their post? And I said, I always do. And that
Hmm.
doesn't mean I sit there and give it 20, like just hearting it or
Hmm.
just sending a heart. That in my mind is
Yeah.
sending them the love. So it doesn't have to
Exactly.
be a big, huge thing. It could just be something as simple as sending a heart. That is energy
Exactly.
and that is love. So again, we all have that. We all have the capacity
Hmm.
to do that because there are so many people that if you write something that they disagree with, they will go on, they will tell you how wrong you are in your comments, right? So how hard
Yeah.
to just send some love to someone.
Exactly. Exactly. Got to invest in the right things.
That's
Yeah.
Rachel, I love you. I think thank God that you exist in this world. And please tell people where they can connect with you. I know you're pretty active on X, so like give us your handle there. And again, we will have this in the show notes so people can, click, but go ahead and tell us.
And you could find me on that, and I try to post good stuff. I try to post people in needs of prayers and just my own thoughts of different things. And I'm actually posting summaries of the chapters of the book that I'm writing. So not the whole book, but just summaries of each chapter. And I hope I'm planning on I want to publish this book for free on Kindle. I'm not totally sure if I can do that, but I'll make it as cheap as I can. But anyway, I have other books out too. They're all available on Amazon if anyone wants to read them. And yeah, I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts.
Well, wonderful. And your audio cut out a little bit when you said your ex name. So what is that again? Rachel Kaplan 4
Yes.
and no underscores.
No underscores. No.
Okay. Perfect, perfect. Well,
Yeah.
we will make sure that people can find you. And definitely, if you are
Hmm.
looking for inspiration and upliftment, please follow Rachel and get her books because they are so many nuggets of wisdom and just beautiful, encouraging thoughts from a beautiful and encouraging person. So, Rachel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Yes, yes. Well, I could talk to you all the time. So, we will make this a regular thing. But thank you all for joining the Secrets of Being podcast and tune in next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Secrets of Being podcast. We appreciate your time and support. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with more inspiring content. For further inspiration, visit thesecretsofbeing.com and join our community. Until next time, stay inspired and keep unlocking the secrets of being.